Farms, and I'm in the big barn today just to catch you up a little bit, but I have to make kind of a retraction. I made a mistake early on, and it took me a while to figure out what the mistake was, and so I'll show you. Okay, so starting out, when I got the sawmill, I got it's a Woodland 122 sawmill, and all of my material, all the timber frame material has been cut on that sawmill since I've owned it. But the first blade came, and the first blade I think had, the first blade on it had a 5/8 tooth. That means it was 5/8 apart. And I bought a batch of saw blades. I bought an extra 5 because I knew that the standard is between 3 and 5 logs is about what you can cut with a saw blade. So I was going to need extras. So the second blade I put on it was a 3/4. I think they call it a kerf. A 3/4, the gap between the two teeth. And I got this finish. That's the second blade I put on it. I got this finish. Now I don't know if you can see it, but it was really abrupt, and I just thought that I purchased the wrong kerf or gap in the blade, because the blades I purchased for the replacement were all-purpose. The first blade that was on it that came from the factory was for hardwoods, and I just wanted an all-purpose one and put the second blade on. Now I've cut enough logs up on the second blade, and I put the third blade on. And when I put the third blade on, which had the same gap, had the 7/8 gap, that went away. So to come to find out in the retraction is, the second blade I put on had a bent tooth. There was a tooth somewhere on that saw in freight, got bent out, and it was showing itself when it would go around. It would show that one tooth, and I didn't realize it and said that it was the tooth count, which it wasn't. I have cut some since I put the third blade. The third blade's still on it down at the sawmill, and it's much better. The finish is much better. The finish is much more acceptable. And so what I've been doing with this rough cut stuff, the stuff that I ran the second blade on, I've been taking, I own a hand grinder, I'm sorry, a hand planer. I just take a hand planer after I get it, the product made how I want it, and I just run the hand planer over it, plane it a little bit. I keep some rough finish on it because I wanted people to be aware that it actually came from a portable sawmill. And on the previous video, I said that on this one I will try to explain part of what I'm doing, and that's a knee brace. That's an example of a knee brace with the end. And what it does is, say you have a post, and there behind me you'll see a main header, and I'll put this in the main header in just a minute. And you got to notch this out so that it fits inside that post. So the post, you go up, you go 3 feet down, there'll be a hole. There's a 2-inch wide, 4 inches tall, there's a hole that this actually fits in. And I'm making some of these. Now I won't be able to video the whole process of making one because it's very time consuming. And I've found that every one of these, so like the column or the post closest to us takes 2. It takes one going away from us, would be going south, and it takes one going west. Each post has at least 2 of these knee braces on that go up to the header. And they would look something like, they're designed to look something like that. Now that one doesn't fit in very well, and I don't know if you can see it on the video. I'll actually move the camera closer so I can give you a better picture of that, because I'm going to need to show you more on. Okay, got the camera moved. This is a header. Right now it's just a temporary workbench where I make these knee braces, but each one of them has a notch out like this. There's a notch here, and this piece, this design, this is on a 45. If you have a true 90, a 45 would match the two together, and this fits in that brace, something like that. And that's what I call a knee brace. I don't know what they're actually called, but that's what I call them. And this was my example. Now, I made one this morning already. Went out and fit it. I don't have it exactly correct yet. I'll move the camera a little bit again. But this is just a small skill saw, and what I'm doing is I'm only allowing 1 inch of blade to protrude past the faceplate, so that I only cut in to this column. This is a 4x4, When I cut into this column an inch, I come back an inch on the same angle. The remaining piece is 2 inches. So let me show you. This remaining piece that fits inside of this header and the post is 2 inches wide. So we got an inch off this side, inch off this side, and that's how these fit together. Now how they're going to be secured yet, I don't know. I haven't got that far. But this is what I'm attempting to make as a knee brace. And so I'll cut a few of these. Actually, I got to get my safety glasses on. My safety glasses on. Now this one I just left long for example purposes. So I started out, remember, all the stuff coming from the sawmill is wild. Everything's long. You don't cut length off the sawmill. You just cut it to the dimension you want. Leave it long, and then you always have to buck off. But this is the correct length between this angle and this angle. And I'll probably do this end first so that you can see what I'm doing and cut that piece off. So what I need to do is I need to take and cut a bunch of strips so that this 1 inch piece carries through all the way. And I'll get some earplugs in, I'll rip that, and then I'll get a chisel, the one I like using, and then I'll show you kind of a secret that I've been doing. Kind of makes it easier. And that'll give you kind of an example of what it looks like. And I, at random, just cut 1 inch strips and then chisel it out. I like this chisel. I think it's 1.5 inches. They're all good chisels. It's just for some reason I migrate to this 1.5 inches. And then I'll show you here in just a second. But let me move this towards you a little bit. Move this tape measure. And I'll move it towards the camera a little bit. And then I just start on the end. And just kind of get that flat. Okay, so then the trick a little bit that I do, now that's not quite finished yet, but this much is overhang. So I take this 1.5 inches, I know, and this piece on mine is 1.5 inches deep. Now the cope, or the hole that's in the header, is 2 inches. So that gives me about 1/2 inch of play, because these sometimes they get pretty snug. So all I do is I take a pencil. In this case, I'll just take a pin. I take this 1.5 inches, set it up against, that's my true edge, and then I just draw a line. Then I take a Sawzall, which I probably won't show you on the video, but I take a Sawzall, come over here and I'll take and cut that off with a sawzall. Now that's not traditional. Traditional, you'd have to take a handsaw and handsaw that off. But now remember, this is only half of it. This is only one side of it. Let's roll that over, the part we just did. Now I gotta bring this mark up and this mark up, and then cut the angle in an inch, 1 inch, and then chip that out, and then I cut it to length because there's less material after that. But anyway, I told you on the previous video that this video would be about knee braces, and that's how I've been doing the knee braces so far. And then once I get a few of the knee braces up, I'll actually show you my progress. I have another header, and I can't put a header up yet because the knee braces, you actually got to pick up the header, put the knee brace in the socket, and then go down in order for it to wedge together. But that's what I've been doing today. And thank you.